For my birthday this year, I decided to make every dessert in Tears of the Kingdom. The problem is that making every dessert meant tracking down ingredients from all over Hyrule, and some of them were way harder to find than I expected. What started as a fun birthday idea quickly became a much harder challenge than I expected, and one dessert in particular gave me way more trouble than I ever imagined. I decided to start planning for what type of materials I could get from the Great Sky Island that I would need for recipes later. I could only get apples and eggs for now, so the rest of the materials that we will need will have to be collected later. Here are all of the recipes that will require apples and eggs. Apple pie, egg pudding, egg tart, energizing honey crepe, honeyed apple, hot buttered apple, plain crepe, wild berry crepe, and an energizing honeyed apple. Obviously, that's a fair bit of recipes that require apples and eggs. Thankfully, both of these are easy to stock up on while we're still on the Great Sky Island. I also decided to stock up on Zonai charges since I knew I would need them later. This area had a lot of apple trees nearby, so I just quickly went around collecting all of the apples I could find since I will need them later for many recipes. Here's where I would finally find my first group of bird eggs. I also found another group of eggs in a different big tree nearby. The rest of the Great Sky Island consisted of mostly the same vanilla gameplay, so I'll save you the time and skip to when we're doing something important. This Zonai capsule device is going to be incredibly important because it dispenses wings. Since we have a nearby warp point, it's basically an unlimited supply. Throughout this challenge, wings became my fastest way of traveling across Hyrule, which is especially helpful because I had sushi plans with my family later that evening. The faster I finished, the better. There's this one chest I tried getting to early, and the reason I did was because it contained more wings. The more wings I could have, the better. But without the paraglider, my landing skills weren't exactly great, so we'd be coming back for these later. And can we talk about this perfect landing with the wing? I was able to land right at the door to the Temple of Time. This has absolutely nothing to do with the challenge, I just thought it was really satisfying. The game expects you to use recall here, but you can also just ultra hand these spinners together for a second. The gate stays open just long enough to walk through, which is definitely faster than solving the shrine normally. After completing the recall shrine, we climb to the top of this island because there is a chest that contains 3 wings. Now that we're done with the Great Sky Island, we can finally start collecting more of the materials that we will need for the dessert recipes. I decided to grab a dark clump early because there was a pretty easy way to get one. If you get far enough away from a gloom spawn, it eventually gives up and disappears, leaving behind a few dark clumps. Since we'd eventually need one for a dark cake, it now meant I wouldn't have to think about it later. While I was running away from the gloom spawn, something completely unexpected happened. They actually broke this acorn, which triggered a Korok. I've never seen that happen before. Has anything weird like this ever happened to you in Tears of the Kingdom? Let me know because I'd love to hear about it. I finally found some coarser bee honey, which was perfect because several of our desserts required it. It was needed for 5 different desserts: energizing honey candy, energizing honey crepe, honeyed apple, honey fruits, and energizing honey apple. The bees were less than thrilled to see me. Thankfully, I discovered you can just shoot them with an arrow to get rid of them. That little trick would save me a lot of pain later. I accidentally stumbled into the jackpot. I found 4 more coarser bee honey and a bunch of apples nearby. That saved me a lot of time. The next thing I had to do was quickly finish the setup to get the paraglider. This would help make traversing the map a lot easier, as well as allow me to activate more Skyview towers. The Skyview towers are very helpful because they're very easy spots to get lots of height and use my wings from. From this point on, Skyview towers became my main way of getting around the map. I finally made it to Rito Village, and at this point of the challenge, it was time to start making some of the desserts I needed. This village has a convenient pot that I can use to cook the current desserts that I can't. The ones I made were energizing honey crepe, energizing honeyed apple, and a hot buttered apple. It wasn't a lot, but it felt good to cross off a few recipes that I won't need to make anymore. I said I was going to be activating more Skyview towers, and I wasn't lying. I decided to get the towers at Eldin and Akala. I needed monster extract for some of the recipes, and fortunately, Terrytown has someone who sells it. I was able to buy 3 for 150 rupees, which was very helpful. I decided to go back to the Zonai capsule device at the Great Sky Island to start restocking on wings. While there, I forgot about this chest at the island next to it that had 3 wings in it. That was very helpful. Oh, and remember that chest I completely failed to reach earlier? Yeah, it turns out that it's a lot easier to get when you actually have the paraglider. This might have been the dumbest thing I did during the challenge. I tried looking up where to find Tabantha wheat. You can usually find them from just cutting tall grass in the Tabantha region. What I failed to take into account for this area was the snow. Looking back, I have absolutely no idea why I thought this would work. If you take anything away from this video, it's to not be stupid like me. It will save you a lot of time. After wasting way more time than I'd like to admit, I finally decided to look somewhere in Tabantha that isn't covered in snow. Once I actually looked in the right place, I was easily able to stock up on 20 pieces of Tabantha wheat. Shocking, I know, but at least now I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. It was time to head back to Lookout Landing. Now that I have a lot more materials, I could start cooking more of our desserts. An apple pie and a enduring carrot cake. That was all I could make for now, so it was time to head toward Hateno Village. We needed Hateno cheese for cheesecake, and honestly, since I needed to make every dessert in the game, there was no getting around it. While I was there, I stocked up on fresh milk, bird eggs, and goat butter since I need all of them for multiple desserts. Now, in order to get Hateno cheese, you must talk to Koyan and complete a side adventure called A Letter to Koyan. There's this message in a bottle in the middle of this lake. I definitely wasn't going to swim all the way out there, so I came up with this. I fused together a bunch of throwaway weapons into one giant stick. I was then able to use recall to get my weapons and the bottle at the same time. I simply detached the bottle and was able to complete that quest pretty easily. Now I can finally buy Hateno cheese. Well, it turns out I didn't even need to buy any Hateno cheese because Koyan just gives you one after finishing the quest. I went back to Rito Village to make my cheesecake. I literally had the pot lit at Hateno Village, so I'm not really sure why I didn't just do it while I was there. I have no idea why I waited until now to make it. While cooking, I also made myself a tough pumpkin pie. Someone in YouTube chat suggested that I check Zora's domain for cane sugar. They did not have cane sugar. I decided it was time to start heading to Goron City. Fortunately, in Tears of the Kingdom, you don't have to worry about the burning environment like you did in Breath of the Wild, so getting there was incredibly easy. This shop in Goron City sold a few cane sugar for 36 rupees. Keep this shop in mind because it would end up saving this challenge later. I made it back to Lookout Landing to cook more of our desserts. An egg tart, energizing honey crepe, and honeyed fruits. I also tried to make a fruit cake a few times, but unfortunately you can't make them with apples. So I'll need to make it later when I get at least one other kind of fruit. Apparently apples don't count as fruit. Good to know, game. It's literally called fruit cake. Gosh, Nintendo. I went back to Rito Village to try buying more cane sugar, but unfortunately they were still sold out. I learned that you could apparently get some at Korok Forest. I started diving into the Minshi Woods Chasm and died? Yeah, apparently I just hit a random wall. I couldn't even see it, but sure, that's fair. Don't you love the depths? All right, take two. I made sure to stay in the middle so that I wouldn't die this time. I also used my paraglider more, and then I started navigating for the ascend spot for Korok Forest. It's pretty hard to miss, so it wasn't hard at all. I dropped a wing and flew straight over to that structure. That also allowed me to easily avoid the gloom spawn that are normally hanging out along this path to there. Unfortunately, the shop is completely locked until you defeat Phantom Ganon inside the Great Deku Tree. I didn't exactly have the greatest weapons, so I'll need to figure out another way to get more cane sugar. I decided to check the shop again in Goron City. By some miracle, the shop had already restocked. I have absolutely no idea how, but I wasn't about to question it. Now that I got more cane sugar again, I went back to Lookout Landing to start making a couple more desserts. A monster cake and a warding dark cake. Since apples don't work for making a fruit cake, I decided to try exploring Faron to see if I could find any mighty bananas. Remember how easy they were to find in Breath of the Wild? Well, they're not easy to find anymore. Like, seriously, where are they? I'm in the middle of a jungle and there's not a single mighty banana? How? Okay, this is ridiculous. I finally found some mighty bananas, alright, but they're in the backpack of this blue bokoblin. Where did he find them? All that mattered was killing them so that I could get a hold of them. I was able to get several of them this way. Thankfully, this should be more than enough. Okay, let's make this dang fruitcake. Except I still couldn't make it. Now here came the most tedious part of the whole entire challenge. We wanted to find some wild berries since we needed them for a lot of recipes, including that dang fruitcake. Now look at this footage. This is actually ridiculous. There's not a single wild berry to be found. We're literally in the region where these things are supposed to spawn. Yeah, so to no surprise, I gave up on that attempt. I went back to Rito Village and was able to buy a few more cane sugar and goat butter at least. I went to Goron City to see if I could double up and get more, but sadly they hadn't quite restocked yet. But since I just got some, I can't really complain. It was time to make some more desserts. I was able to make a nut cake and plain crepe. I bought more fresh milk at Hateno Village since I still needed it to make a few desserts. The last thing I needed to do was to find those wild berries. I think you can probably guess how this went. I searched through a huge chunk of the Hebra region and didn't see a single one. If you told me this would be the thing holding me back, I would have called you crazy. In Breath of the Wild, these were everywhere, but in Tears of the Kingdom, finding them feels like searching for a needle in a haystack. To the knowers watching this video, can you even find them anywhere in this region? I'm convinced you can't. I'm sure it's very obvious by the footage, but I was very frustrated. On my birthdays of all days too. I was also planning to eat sushi with family and had to beat traffic to meet them. So while at the very cusp of finishing this challenge, I had to cut it short. The sushi was very delicious, by the way. It's actually kind of funny since growing up, I was not a huge fan of sushi, but now I can confidently say it's one of my top 3 foods. Do you like sushi? If so, what's your favorite? I love this garlic tuna nigiri. It's amazing. Definitely try it sometime. I actually decided to stream more after I got back from dinner with family. The sushi was very delicious, by the way. I wanted to finish the challenge on stream, and knowing me, I would be a little annoyed if I couldn't finish it today on my birthday. I started by getting more wings from his donated device dispenser since I would need them for where I was about to go. While I was going out for dinner, I did some strategizing and looked up where I could find wild berries. Apparently they're pretty common in Gerudo Highlands. It's a bit colder there, so I decided to prepare a bit of cold resistance. I started gliding down to the Hyrule Field Skyview Tower with my wings. From there, I would make my way towards Gerudo Canyon Skyview Tower. This is one of the unique towers in the game where you need to do a small puzzle before you can activate it. Fortunately for me, it's pretty simple. You just grab these metal boxes next to the tower and place them here, which will send this maintenance guy up. He was able to fix the tower for me so I could start heading to the Gerudo Highlands. From here, the Gerudo Highlands Skyview Tower is within view. Upon arriving on land, guess what I finally found? Wild berries! Oh my god, they actually exist in this game. It was only a single one, but seeing even one just gave me a bit of hope for the rest of this challenge. From the cave, I ascended into the tower and was able to find 2 more wild berries. You can see just how excited I was to find these. I'm getting this excited over finding some berries. What crazy times we live in. Since I only needed 3 wild berries, I can now complete the rest of my dessert recipes. Time to make our final desserts in the game. I was able to finally make my fruit cake. It's a mighty one too, apparently. I also made a precautionary save in case I mess up the recipes. That was a good idea since I made a couple mistakes while trying to make the fruit pie. Being this excited to get it is pretty crazy, not gonna lie. The final recipe I had to make was the wild berry crepe, which allowed me to finish my challenge in just under 5 hours. Not too bad for trying this on the fly without much strategizing. Here are all of the desserts I made throughout this challenge. Some of these look insanely good, to be honest. But that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed and want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. This isn't the usual type of challenge video I make on this channel, but I honestly had a lot of fun making it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.